Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the Triple Threat Show. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is a beautiful Monday, March 16th. It is March. It is madness. March Madness is here, and we are here to give you the whole entire bracket. That's right. 1 through 16, 1 through 68, all set after conference championship week. What a wonderful time to be a sports fan. The greatest sports weekend in all of sports, really, is coming up later, and we will get you ready for your bracket. It is Monday. It is March Madness Bracket Monday. The brackets officially revealed. I will take you through each and every single game, each and every pick, and we'll go more in depth throughout the week, I'm sure. But we are here to help you break it all down. So let's start off in the East region. We are not going to do a lot of fanfare here. We're breaking down this 1 versus 16 matchup, Duke versus Siena. The one seeds have only lost twice in the history. Duke will not go down here against Siena. Ohio State, TCU in this East region, the 8 versus 9 matchup. I'm going with Ohio State here. They have played really well recently. TCU is a team that can shoot the lights out of a building, and these 8-9 matchups are always a little bit of a toss-up, but Ohio State has kept it close with Michigan, a 1 seed. They made it all the way to the semifinals in the Big Ten, going through a lot of really tough opponents. Ohio State, as an 8 seed, gets a win in the first round. St. John's versus the 12 seed Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa always here for a little bit of magic. They haven't been in the dance since 2016 when they had that magical run, including a buzzer beater, half-court shot banked in order to win the game in the first round. I don't think that magic continues here. I'm taking St. John's, as the chalk so far is 3-4-3. Excuse me. Number 4, Kansas Jayhawks takes on number 13, Cal Baptist. As much as Cal Baptist is a great story, Darren Peterson and the rest of that Kansas squad is just going to be too much for that 13 seed to handle. Still chalk, 1-8-5-4. This is where we get to our first upset. The 11 seeds every year in the last 23 years have had at least one team move on. South Florida will continue that trend against Louisville as they just play a really interesting style of offense. They're fast. They can put up 1 billion points on you. So can Louisville, but they've really struggled against really solid teams. And South Florida is near a quad 1 level team. They're in the top 75. They're not in the top 50, which is where they need to get, but they are in the top 75. South Florida playing really, really great basketball, and I think they're going to be able to take care of business against a Louisville team that is very dangerous with a lottery pick on their roster in Mikael Brown. I still think this is the first big upset that we're going to see. You can't spell March without Izzo, and the 3 seed Michigan State Spartans are back in the tournament for their 28th straight year. Tom Izzo leads this team. Michigan State, the number 3 seed, takes on the auto bid from the Summit League, North Dakota State. I'm taking Michigan State to move on there. North Dakota State plays a really good brand of basketball. They get a tough draw with a great Sparty team. UCLA, the 7 seed, takes on the 10 seed UCF. This one is interesting because UCF can play really good basketball out of that Big 12, but they were a bubble team for a reason. I am taking UCLA to get the job done. UConn takes on Furman in that 2-15 matchup in the East region. UConn will roll over Furman. Furman's played really well. They've been to the tournament now 2 years in a row. They had some magical moments last time they were in the tournament, taking down Virginia 2 years ago. I just don't think that this UConn team is going to be able to do much of anything against them. So that is the first round of the East bracket, right? Duke takes down Siena. The only upset that we have is going to be South Florida against Louisville. So it's not a completely chalk bracket, but as we get into the round of 32, it's the 1 seed Duke Blue Devils taking on the 8 seed Ohio State Buckeyes. These two teams, I wish I could give you some analysis that says Ohio State is going to be able to take down Duke, but the most obvious thing I can point to, and maybe this doesn't solve all of your problems, but Ohio State could not beat Virginia, and Virginia is 0-2 against Duke. Give me the Dukies to move on to the Sweet 16 and the second weekend. St. John's takes on Kansas. Kansas has been so inconsistent all year long. This is a St. John's team that has a switch that it can flip. We saw it as they won the Big East for the second straight year in dominant fashion over UConn this time. St. John's is a team that can blow out UConn. It's a team that can get blown out by UConn. I'm taking St. John's over Kansas, but this one I could very easily see going either way. These two teams, net ranking-wise, St. John's 16, Kansas 21. True shooting 55-56. They both hold their opponents basically to the same level. These two teams very much match up very well. I'm taking St. John's to advance to the second weekend, though, as opposed to Kansas. South Florida, the 11 seed, our Cinderella so far, taking on the Michigan State Spartans. Jeremy Fears, very, very good at basketball. A little bit of a dirty player there, but it doesn't really matter because they play very good basketball, and I think South Florida, for as good as fast as they are, I don't think they're going to be able to take down Michigan State here. Give me the Spartans. Give me Tom Izzo to advance to the second weekend. That coaching is going to be the difference in this game. UCLA takes on UConn. The Huskies are a great basketball team, but they're a reason they're not the 1 seed. They just got blown out by St. John's. UCLA is red hot right now. Mick Cronin is coaching the hell out of those boys. I am taking UCLA in another upset here. UConn out in the round of 32. That leaves us in the East region, the Sweet 16 qualifiers. The number 1 seeded Duke Blue Devils, the number 3 seeded Michigan State Spartans, the number 5 seeded St. John's, I don't even know their mascot here, excuse me, that's bad hosting on my part, and the number 7 seed UCLA Bruins. But that is just one team that's normal, 1-5, 3-7 matchups. I'm taking Duke to take care of St. John's. I've advanced them far enough. I don't love this team, but I do like Rick Pitino as a coach. This is a much better St. John's team than it was last year, but this is where they reach the end of the road. And give me Michigan State to take down UCLA, setting up a Duke versus Tom Izzo matchup, a matchup as old as time in the Elite Eight, and heading to the Final Four out of the East region. It's going to be the Duke Blue Devils. Michigan State has been great all season, but they have shown their weakness against some of those top-tier opponents. We've seen them struggle with the Michigans, the guys that can put up that top-tier offense just like that with a snap of their fingers. They can keep up with a lot of them, but I think Duke is the number 1 seed for a reason. They will advance to the Final Four. So that leaves us with 1 of 4 representatives right now. The Duke Blue Devils are in the Final Four as it stands. We will continue our bracket coverage here in a second, but we're going to take a quick break. When we return, we take a look at the South region. Florida, the 1 seed. Houston, the 2 seed. Who comes out of that region and who will face Duke in the Final Four? That's coming up next on the Triple Threat Show. Welcome back to the Triple Threat Show. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is a beautiful Monday, March 16th. And we now have the March Madness bracket officially out. And that only means one thing, guys. We need to go through all of it. The March Madness bracket revealed. If you are just tuning in, first of all, come on. What are you doing, guys? You missed out on a great one so far. We've gone over the entire East region, Duke coming out of it. I will post my bracket over on our Instagram at 3threatshow_. You can go check us out there, anywhere you get your podcasts. Check us out. Give us a follow. We will see my bracket on there later on today. But let's get to the South region as we are making this bracket as we talk. Obviously, I've got it pre-planned, but we're putting it in the system as we talk about it. And in the South region, we have our first instance of a play-in game. It doesn't matter. The 1 seed takes on the 16 seed Lehigh or PVAMU. It doesn't really matter. The 16 seed, again, does not fare very well in these matchups historically, and I don't expect that to change here. Give me the Florida Gators, the Gator Boys, looking to go back-to-back in March Madness here. The number 1 seed continues to march. Clemson, Iowa, 8-9. I have flip-flopped on this game back and forth. My initial rankings, my heart went with Clemson because I like the way that this Clemson teams play, but there was an injury that they suffered in the conference tournament to one of their big men. Iowa plays everybody close, and their defense, let me tell you, it's really good. It actually is very, very good. I like this Clemson team a lot. I always have a weakness for these Clemson teams when it comes to basketball for some reason. I'm taking Iowa to advance to the second round over Clemson simply because of the injuries and the health of both of these squads. The number 5 seeded Vanderbilt Commodores take on McNeese State. And another 5-12 matchup. We have to pick one of these in order for them to move on. But I'm telling you, it won't be this one. Vanderbilt, their guards, quick, fast. I don't think anyone on McNeese can stop them, and they have the bigs down low for those dunks and those passing lanes. I am taking Vanderbilt to take down McNeese. Nebraska, the 4 seed, red hot all season long. They have never, ever won a tournament game in the history of their storied basketball franchise. Excuse me. Their storied basketball franchise. Troy can give you problems, but this is a Nebraska team that's kind of built to deal with Troy. They are not going to give them a lot of trouble. Maybe it's close in the first half. Maybe there's a bit of a scare, but I expect Nebraska to get their first ever tournament win in Nebraska school history. They take down Troy and advance to the round of 32. VCU takes on North Carolina. North Carolina has been red hot despite not having Caleb Wilson, but this is a VCU team that you should not overlook. They play fast, they play hard, and in the first year under the new coach in the A-10, they have taken care of business. I'm taking the Rams to take down North Carolina here. This one I could see going either way. There were another 11-6 upset. Illinois takes on Penn. Penn was the least impressive team that I saw when I was watching the Ivy League conference over the weekend, and yet they were able to pull out both games. Shout out to them. Shout out to the clutch shooting in March that lets them send the game to overtime against Yale, where they eventually do pull it out. Illinois is the team that I have moving on. Penn, thank you for coming. I don't think the Ivy gets a win this year. St. Mary's versus Texas A&M. The bottom of that SEC is just way too weak. We're going to see a lot of these teams at the bottom of the SEC that just got in. St. Mary's at the top of that WCC, ranked in the top 25 for a reason. Give me the St. Mary Gales, and I think they'll take down the Aggies pretty comfortably in that 7-10 matchup. Houston takes on Idaho. Idaho in the tournament for the first time in like 32 years. So shout out to Idaho. They can put up a lot of points. Again, that's kind of the theme with these mid-majors. But Houston, if they can do one thing, it's shut you down. We've seen that against lesser Big 12 competition. Idaho is going to lose by about 40 points. That might be the biggest blowout of the entire first round, honestly. Florida versus Iowa. The number number 1 seed versus the number 9 seed in the round of 32 for the South region kicks us off. Florida continues their dominance. I like Iowa a lot, but I don't think they have the offensive firepower to keep up with the way that Florida's been playing. Florida moves on. Nebraska versus Vandy. This is going to be a fascinating game. Another 4-5 where we're seeing a lot of great potential 4-5 matchups throughout this entire bracket, right? Let's talk about this one a little bit. Vanderbilt is that typical team. Both of these started red hot and have slowed down over the stretch of games that has been taking place late in conference play. They both struggle a little bit with the top tier teams, but we also saw Vanderbilt take down Florida in the SEC championship round, in the semifinal round, really in dominant fashion. They won by nearly 30 points. So they have the offense to keep up with them. We know that they can. Nebraska is going to play tight with everybody. I worry a little bit about both of these teams' defenses. Neither of these coaches really have a lot of March Madness experience. Byington has won a game before with James Madison, but he hasn't really made it too far into the tourney. Nebraska, of course, has never won a game, so this is the furthest that they have ever made it. It's going to be a real tight one. At the end of the day, I trust Vanderbilt a little bit more, but I also think they're more susceptible to mistakes. So this one really could go either way. I am leaning with Vandy here, though, as Florida gets their rematch from that semifinals matchup. VCU takes on Illinois. Both of these teams play incredibly fast. Both of these teams have some of the fastest pace of play in the entire country. They both like to shoot a lot of threes. They both are great offensive teams. VCU is a better defensive team, but Illinois a vastly superior offensive team. I'm taking the 3 seed to advance, despite me not really liking them. The way that their bracket falls, I just think they've got a really, really good road to at least the Sweet 16. St. Mary's versus Houston. Houston is a national title threat. St. Mary's is not a national title threat. The 7 seed versus the 2 seed. The 2 seed move on, which sets up a 1-5-3-2 matchup, very similar to what we had in the East region. Not quite the same, still not full chalk, which I am very proud of here. I'm just going to say this is the accurate bracket, but no full chalk here as it goes. Florida versus Vanderbilt, a rematch of a game that we just saw. I think the Florida Gators get up for this one. They get their revenge. They move on to the Elite Eight. And Illinois takes on Houston. I told you I don't like this Illinois team. This is an Illinois team that people are saying as an analytics darling, a team that could win it all. Just you have to watch them. I don't like their offense. I don't like their defense, excuse me. I think they're susceptible to hot shooting nights from teams, and I think that Houston defense is going to be more than enough to shut them down or at least slow their offense down a lot. That will give Houston the chance to advance to the Elite Eight. Number 1 versus number 2 in the Elite Eight. Florida takes on those Houston Cougars. I think Florida gets back to the Final Four again. Houston, a great team, but they have now gone through two straight prolific offenses. I don't think that they're going to be able to shut both Illinois and Florida down. Whether Illinois or Florida gets the best of them, time will tell. But I think Florida is the one that will be representing this region out of the South. So we have 2 1 seeds in the championship, in the Final Four, in the national semifinals as we get to our final bracket here. Again, 1 seed being represented, but a couple of upsets here. It is going to be a very entertaining left side of the bracket. The biggest matchup I'm looking forward to in the first round out of each region we've covered so far, Louisville versus Florida. In the East, that 11-6 matchup is going to be great. Of course, I am looking forward to as the bracket will fall as I predicted. UCLA UConn is going to be a good one. VCU versus North Carolina could be one of the better ones. And Vanderbilt versus Nebraska, all games to look out for in the first weekend of March that you should be sat down in front of your television for. It is going to be a wild ride. We've gone through half the bracket here now. We will continue our coverage on Bracket Reveal Day coming up in just a second. We will be right back here on the Triple Threat Show. Welcome back to the Triple Threat Show. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is a beautiful Monday, March 16th. It is bracket reveal day. The Selection Sunday Committee has met, and they have made their picks. The biggest snub? I don't know if there was one. I think they pretty much nailed this bracket this year. There was not a great bubble. I think there's a couple teams that got in that probably didn't deserve to get in. Looking at you, SMU. Looking at you, Texas. Looking at some of those bottom tier teams. But, maybe we're looking at like a Belmont as the biggest snub, which at the end of the day, all respect to Belmont, if they're the biggest snub, the committee did a pretty good job. If you're just tuning in, we have gone through half of my March Madness bracket here, and we're going to continue going through the rest. Right now, with the left side completed, we have Florida and Duke in the Final Four out of the East and the South, respectively. Now we turn our attention to the West region. Arizona, the 1 seed. Purdue, the 2 seed. Who will represent this region? And this is the region that I am dubbing the region of chaos, because this is the one where anything can happen. We could have a 7 seed win it all. We could have a chalk bracket where Arizona goes all the way to the end. We could see upset after upset after upset, or we could see nothing. It's going to be very, very interesting to watch. This is my favorite region. Just looking at the rankings right now, I'm so excited to watch this West region. But let's start off with that 1 versus 16. Long Island University. Shout out to the Sharks. They make it into the bracket, but it's just invitational to get your butt kicked by Arizona. Arizona moves on pretty easily, pretty handily. Villanova takes on Utah State. The Aggies out of the Mountain West are dangerous. I love this Utah State team. Villanova, a solid team under the first year of Kevin Willard. 3rd place in the Big East. They get an 8 seed in the tournament. That's nothing to scoff at, guys. But Utah State is just a much better team. I love the way that they're able to play. They have a lot of returning production. They've got a lot of guys that have been here in the tournament before, and this is the best iteration of the Utah State team that we have seen in the last couple of years. Wisconsin versus High Point. This is where it gets really interesting. This matchup is probably why I said this is the chaos region. Look, Wisconsin is a Final Four caliber team. On some nights, we have seen them show up. Their offense, when they are shooting well, no one in the country can beat them. Point blank, period. But they don't shoot that well every single game. I love this Wisconsin team, but if you catch them in an off night, which it's hard to have 6 straight on nights when you are playing in a tournament like this, I don't think they're winning at all. High Point is a very dangerous team, but I'm riding with Wisconsin. I think they'll be on in the first round. Last time they were a 5 seed in the tournament, they lost in this very region to a 12 seed. They are looking to get some revenge. I like this Wisconsin team. We are just going to have to see what happens. Arkansas versus Hawaii. The Arkansas Razorbacks, your SEC champions. John Calipari, the first coach in SEC history to win it with multiple different schools. Arkansas moves on. Hawaii, a fun team. I just don't think they can keep up with Acuff and that Arkansas offense. BYU versus the winner of Texas versus NC State. And here's what I'll say with this one. I expect NC State to win this matchup against Texas, and if they do, I think they match up pretty well against BYU. AJ DeBonsta is that team. He's going to drop 35 points. He's going to go for 35, 8, and 5, something like that in this game. But I also think that Quadir Copeland for NC State, that Darren Williams for NC State can power this team past BYU. But if Texas takes them out, BYU wins this. I'm taking BYU to win this. I've taken all 11 seeds so far, and AJ DeBonsta deserves his credit, his due. He will take them past the first round of this tournament. I'm taking the BYU Cougars to the round of 32. Gonzaga takes on Kennesaw State out of the WCC for the final time. Gonzaga looks to represent that conference. They represent it well, as they have every single year for nearly the last 30 seasons. Gonzaga advances to the round of 32. Miami versus Missouri. Missouri is a team that's very dangerous. They're basically at home, and they're much better at home. But I love this Miami team. I think they're a threat that could go all the way to the Final Four. I'm taking Miami, not of Ohio, of Florida, to take down the 10 seed Missouri Tigers. Purdue takes on Queens. Queens in the tournament for the first time in their program's history. Purdue knocks them out very quickly. Shout out to Queens. Thanks for coming. Make sure to grab a party bag on your way out. Arizona versus Utah State. This is a sneaky good matchup. Arizona wins. They're a much better team. Utah State gives them a fight, though, especially in that first half. My favorite potential matchup of this entire tournament, the entire tournament, is right here. The number 5 seed Wisconsin Badgers taking on the number 4 seed Arkansas Razorbacks. I just finished talking about how inconsistent this Wisconsin team is. Arkansas has played a lot of basketball over the last couple of days in the SEC tournament. The round of 32 is going to be very tiring for them. Wisconsin, a team that can get it done against just about anybody. I'm going out on a limb here. This is my limb team. I'm taking Wisconsin to win this one. I like John Calipari. I like their teams. They went all the way to the round of 32 last year with a worse team. And I'm talking myself into taking Arkansas here. So that's exactly what I will do, actually. I'm taking Arkansas to advance. Wisconsin just a little bit too inconsistent. I can't imagine them being on for 6 straight games. So I'm taking Arkansas to the round, to the Sweet 16. BYU, the 6 seed, takes on the 3 seed Gonzaga. The Zags over there, they are really good again. I don't think this is breaking news to anybody. I don't think BYU has the guns to compete with Gonzaga, and I think that's where they run out of steam. Give me Gonzaga to advance to Sweet 16 weekend. Miami versus Purdue. This is my first big upset of this one. The 7 seed Miami with Trey Donaldson, they can stay with anybody. Purdue, a team that is much better in, neutral sites and not at home, really, which is weird. But give me Miami, take down Purdue. They face Gonzaga in the next round. Arizona versus Arkansas here. John Calipari versus the number 1 seeded Arizona Wildcats. Arizona has struggled super deep into tournaments. They struggle with 3-pointers. That's where I get very concerned. They don't have a guy that I know can knock down those shots. I am going with Arkansas here to move on and advance over the 1 seed. Gonzaga versus Miami. Gonzaga, also another team that has some inconsistencies. They've lost to some bad teams. Miami, also not the most consistent team, but they've got some clutch players. Give me Miami to advance to the Elite 8. This is my chaos bracket. This is my chaos region. What did I tell you? The 4 seed versus the 7 seed here in the finals, and we will take Arkansas to advance all the way to the Final Four. That leaves us with a 1, a 1, and a 4 as we head into our final region. The Midwest region is coming up next here on the Triple Threat Show. You can follow us everywhere all over the internet on Twitch at 3 Threat Show, YouTube at Triple Threat Show, to Instagram at 3 Threat Show _ and TikTok at the _ Triple Threat Show. You can find us. I will post our brackets later on today on the Instagram, on the TikTok, everywhere. We will be there. Stick around. Final region and the Final Four coming up next on the Triple Threat Show. Welcome back to the Triple Threat Show. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is a beautiful Monday, March 16th. The NCAA March Madness brackets are officially released. We are here. We have our answers. We know who is in and who is out, and we will break you down the entire bracket. If you're just tuning in, you've missed 3/4 of it. The Final Four as it stands right now: Duke, Florida, and Arkansas as we head to the final of our 4 regions. The Midwest, the forgotten region. We've got an East, we've got a West, and we have a South. No North region, just a Midwest region. Screw the North is what they are saying in the NCAA tournaments here. It always confused me, but I digress. Let's get into the brackets here. You're not here to have me talk about cardinal directions. Let's talk about Michigan versus the play-in game, either Howard or UMBC. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this. There are no 1/16 upsets in this year's March Madness. March is mad, but not that mad. We will continue to see the 1 seeds prevail. Georgia versus St. Louis. The Billikens had been one of the top group of 5 programs in all of college basketball all season long. Their mid-major status definitely puts them under the radar a little bit, but they didn't win their conference, and they're still a 9 seed. They were ranked in the top 25 for much of this season. Georgia, not a team that I love. Point blank period. I think despite St. Louis kind of sputtering it down the stretch a little bit, they made it all the way to the final. They made it all the way to the tournament. They get a 9 seed. I think they win a game. Give me St. Louis out of the A-10 to take down the Georgia Bulldogs. Texas Tech takes on Akron, and here it is. I promised you one. Here it is, the 5-12 takedown. Akron takes down Texas Tech. Texas Tech without JT Toppin, they've played great, but they've shown that they can be shut down. Akron's offense can keep up with anybody. We've seen that in a MAC conference now with 2 bids. You have to play great offense in order to win these games. Akron has that. They're in the top 50 in the net. I love this Akron team. They are very, very good. I think they are that upset team to watch, especially with the injuries to Texas Tech. Alabama, the 4 seed. Hofstra, the 13 seed. Hofstra's really fun to watch. They really are. The 88th team in the net. I just think Alabama's going to run up and down. They don't have the answers to that Hofstra, and I think Alabama takes down that Hofstra auto bid squad. Tennessee takes on the winner of Miami, Ohio versus SMU, and this one is fascinating. I think the Redhawks are a good team, and I think they'll probably take down SMU, but I think Tennessee's size is going to be a huge problem for them. If SMU advances, I also think that Tennessee's size is going to be a problem for them. SMU is a team that has a couple of really good guards. They've got a couple of players that I think can be a problem. In the tournament, Boopy Miller has got a crazy shot if he's on, but I don't think that's enough. I like this Tennessee team a lot, and I think they move on to the round of 32 as a 6 seed. Virginia takes on Wright State. Virginia, as a 3 seed, is the right option. Wright State, a very good shooting team. I don't think they have the guns against a great defensive team in Virginia. That's going to be a problem. Santa Clara versus Kentucky. Kentucky, I'm surprised, is a 7 seed, honestly. They went on a little bit of run in the SEC tournament, but I don't think it's enough. Santa Clara, a very good team with some rest there, too. I like Santa Clara a lot. That is a 7-10 upset for you in the Midwest region. Iowa State, red hot. Red hot is Iowa State right now. They advance to the round of 32 over Tennessee State, making their first ever tournament appearance. Shout out to them. Get a cup of coffee. Be back next year. Michigan takes on St. Louis, and as much as I like the Billikens, they're fading down the stretch, and Michigan has blown just about everybody out that they have played recently. I don't think this changes now. Michigan is going to be in the round of 16. Alabama takes on Akron, and both of these teams like to play fast. I'm going with the Power Conference players. I'm going with Alabama. Akron, a very good team, but I don't think this chaos scenario goes any further. Give me the Crimson Tide to take on Michigan. Tennessee versus Virginia. I like Virginia way too much in this matchup. I don't know why I like them so much. They are a team that just has everything. They've got the defense, they've got the size, they've got the shooting, they've got the offense, they've got the star player that's going to go in the NBA draft. I think Virginia has the recipe to be a national title contender. Tennessee just does not quite have that. Santa Clara's run ends here, though. Iowa State, they advance to the Sweet 16 as we now have a 1-2-3-4 in the Midwest region. Michigan versus Alabama, Virginia versus Iowa State, 1-4-3-2. Let's start on the 1-4 matchup. As good as Alabama is, this is not the best NATO team that we have seen. I think Michigan is a better squad, and I think they advance. Dusty May has a nose for building great tournament teams. I don't think that changes now. Virginia versus Iowa State here as we continue to roll through the matchups. This one's fascinating because Iowa State, when they're on, are a national championship squad. Virginia, also a national championship level squad. I just saw how good Iowa State played against everyone in that Big 12 conference, but when they ran into a defense like Houston's, that caused problems. Virginia has a defense that can clog you up on the inside. Iowa State has one of the best shooters in the entire nation, though. I'm taking Virginia to play Michigan in the Elite Eight. And this is where their run ends. Michigan joins the 1-seed party in the Final Four. They continue to play great basketball. Michigan moves on to the next round, which sets up our Final Four for you. Duke takes on Florida, and Arkansas takes on Michigan. That's 3 1s and a 4 here, giving us 7 in the Final Four. Lucky number. That's what we like to see. Duke versus Florida. We have seen this matchup recently. I don't think it changes. Florida, the way that they're able to play, I think they're a national title threat right now. Give me the team that has not really lost at all, though. Duke only suffered losses early in the season. They've taken down the top competition, and they have the National Player of the Year in Cam Boozer. This is a Florida team that has been very good, very consistent, at least recently. But I'm taking the Duke Blue Devils to make it to the national championship game. It's been a little bit since they won one. Duke is ready to go. No Cooper Flagg, just Cam Boozer here as they advance to the national championship game. It could set up a rematch, or it could set up a game against John Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks, but I think Michigan is a dangerous squad. Duke versus Michigan, a rematch at Lucas Oil Stadium that we saw in D.C. just about a month ago. It went towards Duke that first time. It's hard to beat a team twice, but it's also hard to go into the national championship game knowing that you have lost this one. This is going to be a heavyweight battle, one that was foretold earlier on in the college basketball season. I am taking the Duke Blue Devils to win it all. I know, it's boring. The 1 seed, the number 1 overall seed does it. We've seen this matchup before. As good as these teams are, you know what? You're right. It's too boring. What am I doing? It's way too boring. I'm not here to be boring for you. Give me Michigan. These two teams neck and neck. It was a very tight game the first time. It's hard to beat a team twice. The tiebreaker score, 75-71. The Michigan Wolverines raise the national championship trophy, cut down those nets. They take down Duke in the semifinals. Shout out to Michigan. I will post this whole bracket for you on Instagram. You can check us out there. Wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. I have been your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Go fill out a bracket with us. Go make one. Go show me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm right. Go copy my bracket if you want a chance at that perfect bracket here. But thank you, everybody, so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Triple Threat Show. I have been your host, Jeremy Lapidus. We will be back tomorrow doing more in-depth breakdown of these games, talk about some of these play-in games who's going to advance, as well as the big news out of the rest of the world of sports. Because while March Madness is here, the NFL doesn't sleep. The NBA is winding down. The Paralympics are going on. The World Baseball Classic continues with the U.S. getting a big win, advancing to the championship game later this week. We will break all of that down and more later this week on the Triple Threat Show. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.